Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to tell you a chilling story about one of the scariest nights I've ever heard of, when a man went on a hiking trip deep into the forest. So grab a blanket, turn off the lights, and get ready for a terrifying tale. And now let's begin. It all started on a late autumn afternoon. The sky was covered in thick gray clouds, and the air smelled of wet earth and fallen leaves. The man, let's call him Daniel, had been planning this hike for weeks. He wanted to spend a night alone in the woods, far from the city, to clear his head. He carried a small backpack with a tent, a flashlight, a knife, and just enough food for 2 days. To him, it felt like a harmless adventure, a way to reconnect with nature. The forest he chose was old, the kind of place where the trees twisted together so tightly that daylight struggled to reach the ground. Locals often warned people not to go there after dark. They said strange noises could be heard, and shadows move where no shadows should exist. Daniel, being a skeptic, laughed at those stories. Ghosts, monsters, cursed woods, none of that mattered to him. As the sun began to set, Daniel set up his tent in a small clearing. The silence was thick, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. He made a small fire, ate his dinner, and sat back against a log, enjoying the flickering glow. That's when he noticed something unusual. From the darkness beyond the trees, he could hear a faint whistle. At first, he thought it was the wind, but the sound repeated 3 short whistles, sharp and deliberate. It came from deep within the forest. Daniel frowned. He told himself it was just another camper, maybe someone signaling a friend. Still, unease crept over him. He decided to ignore it, crawling into his tent and zipping it shut. For a while, he listened to the forest, waiting for sleep to come. But then the whistle came again. 3 notes, louder this time, closer. His heart began to race. He grabbed his flashlight and shined it through thin tent walls, but all he saw were the outlines of trees. No footsteps, no figures. Only silence. He forced himself to lie down and eventually drifted into a restless sleep. Sometime past midnight, Daniel woke with a start. The fire outside had gone out. The forest was pitch black and the air was icy. He sat up listening. That's when he heard it. The sound of something walking slowly around his tent. The crunch of leaves under heavy footsteps. Step, step, step. Daniel's throat tightened. He whispered to himself that it had to be a deer. But then came the whistle. 3 sharp notes right outside the tent. Daniel froze. He didn't dare move. The sound circled the tent, footsteps dragging across the ground. Suddenly, a shadow passed over his tent wall. Tall, thin, inhumanly long. He shut off his flashlight immediately, holding his breath. The shadow lingered, then vanished. Silence returned, but it felt heavier than before. Minutes stretched into hours. The forest seemed alive. Every twig snapped and rustle magnified in the darkness. Daniel's mind played tricks on him. He imagined pale hands pressing against the tent, imagined a face peering through the fabric. He forced his eyes shut, whispering to himself that morning would come soon. But just as sleep threatened to take him, a voice broke the silence. A whisper, faint and raspy, echoing the whistle's rhythm. 3 words. "We see you." Daniel sat up in horror. His chest pounded. His skin prickled with cold sweat. He wanted to run, but leaving the tent meant stepping into the same darkness where that voice lingered. Trembling, He gripped the knife in his hand and waited for dawn. When light finally broke through the canopy, Daniel stumbled outside, barely able to breathe. The clearing looked ordinary at first, but then he noticed the soil around his tent. Pressed deep into the earth were footprints, dozens of them, bare human-like feet, but far too long, with twisted toes that clawed at the dirt. They circled his camp again and again, some overlapping, some leading straight toward the tent entrance and stopping there. Panic surged through him. He packed up quickly, desperate to leave. The forest seemed endless as he retraced his path, but the further he walked, the more he felt watched. Every time he turned, he thought he saw movement, shadows slipping between trees, vanishing the moment his eyes fixed on them. The whistle followed him, always at a distance, always repeating those same 3 notes. By midday, he finally reached the edge of the forest. Relief washed over him as he saw his car parked on the dirt road. But just as he opened the door, the whistle came again from the trees behind him, louder, clearer. He looked back, and for the briefest moment he saw it. A figure standing between the trees, impossibly tall, its face pale and featureless, watching him silently. Its limbs were too long, bending at angles no human body could. It didn't move, but the weight of its gaze crushed him with dread. Daniel slammed the door shut and drove away as fast as he could. But even as the forest disappeared in the rearview mirror, the sound haunted him. A faint whistle, 3 notes, seemed to echo in his ears, as if it followed him beyond the trees. For weeks afterward, he woke at night, certain he could hear it outside his window. Neighbors claimed they heard nothing, but Daniel swore the sound was there, lingering just out of sight. He never hiked again. He sold his camping gear, avoided roads near the forest, and refused to speak of that night, except to warn others. His words were always the same. If you ever hear 3 whistles in the woods, don't wait to see what makes them. Just run and don't look back. And that's where our story ends. If you enjoyed this creepy tale, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss any future stories. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe out there in the dark.